Hey, everybody. It is Friday. It is February 20th. And I'm Julie Roginsky here with Michelle Kinney and Jeff Jarvis. Welcome to this week's episode of Breaking News, or whatever we're calling this whole situation.
Don't know.
So, little bit of news here. Since we last spoke, it looks like, strangely enough, Stephen Colbert got into a tiff with CBS again.
And FCC.
Again. And the FCC, which will not let him be. But sort of the FCC, but I'm not even blaming this one on the FCC. I'm blaming this on CBS and the Ellisons and Barry Weiss or whoever the hell runs CBS at the moment. It's not clear to me. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm going to include the FCC in this because CBS relied on this Carr memo saying we're going to change how we do the fairness doctrine for the first time in history. The fairness doctrine, which of course enabled right-wing talk radio to take over the minds of all of our grandparents and aunts and uncles, and because it went away, and now they're trying to bring it back to use it against candidates. And Stephen Colbert insists, and I trust Stephen Colbert, that CBS told him not to interview Tallarico and not even to talk about it. And God bless Stephen Colbert has the courage to come on the air and, of course, talk about it. CBS tries to prevaricate. CBS is full of crap. And the favorite part, of course, is that the Tallarico interview was done, ended up on YouTube, and last I looked had 3 times the audience that the Colbert Show gets.
That's always how it happens, right?
So
it's the Streisand effect,
the Streisand
right?
effect is now the Carr effect when it comes to Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and late night TV.
Right.
So I think it just shows what assholes the Ellisons are, that they will stoop at nothing to serve the right-wing masters. We know that time and time and time again. And so, and we salute Stephen Colbert. My hope out of this, I've said it before, I'll keep saying it, is that when he leaves CBS, the geriatric dying dead network in May, formerly the Tiffany Network, now the Capitamonte QVC network, that he will come to the internet and become the king of comedy on the internet. And I think that it's a real opportunity for him. He may not have the staff that he had, but I think he can do it and make money and continue to speak out, which would be important.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating to me that some like Stephen Colbert is still putting up with this nonsense, despite the fact that CBS has treated him abysmally. And the part that I thought was actually hilarious about his whole interview with Tallarico is when Tallarico said, look, they tried to get rid of you. And Stephen Colbert looked straight into the camera and said, no, it was a budget decision. I had to do, like he obviously has to read that was part of a settlement or as part of whatever, arrangement he has with them, that he has to read, this very specific stuff, which all of us could see through, and he knows we could see through it. But I mean, the whole thing is just so astonishing to me. I guess it shouldn't be astonishing to me, but here you have Donald Trump he already owns Fox News, effectively, not literally, but figuratively, Fox News. He owns all of talk radio. He owns TikTok. He owns Twitter. He owns CBS. He owns Comedy Central, and he is about to, because I believe the Ellisons will be successful, since it's obvious that it's obvious that the FCC is not going to approve the merger with Netflix, and that shareholders will have no choice but to sell to the Ellisons, about to own CNN and HBO and Warner Brothers Discovery, in addition to already owning Paramount. So, look, it's very obvious here what's happening. And the only question I have is for our Democratic leaders in Washington, when are they going to stand up and say explicitly that if this is what you're doing, CBS, Larry and David Ellison, David Zaslav, everybody else in Hollywood, understand that we're not fucking around, and that in 2029, when there is a Democratic president, we are going to weaponize the shit out of the FCC to punish all of you. So think very, very carefully about what you're doing now. Because this is not the Democratic Party that you're used to that's going to want to go back to norms and this is how we're doing this and so on. No, the reason they're not doing it is because nobody believes them. Nobody actually believes that the Democrats are actually have it in them to do this. But they should, because that is what the base is expecting out of the Democratic Party come 2029. And the first presidential candidate to stand up and say that is the first presidential candidate who I believe is going to win this primary.
Yep.
Michelle, you first, then I've got a contrarian view.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I would say, the FCC needs to be, weaponized against anybody, especially in right-wing media or in mainstream media who bent the knee to bring on a murderous fascist regime. That being said, Stephen Colbert, I think of all the people to really mess with this, to take somebody like that off air, this like decent, wonderful, lovely man. For anybody who doesn't know this about moi, I love Stephen Colbert. I have met him so many times. He has no idea who I am, but I've met him so many times. My friend used to be the audience coordinator over at the Colbert Report. I went many, many times. It was my dream in life to go work for Stephen Colbert. It didn't happen. Maybe it still will. I don't know.
In his internet life, yeah. You
maybe,
bring internet juice.
In 2015, when I got married in Times Square, the band played the new Late Show theme when we entered the ballroom. I love Stephen Colbert. I think he's one of the smartest people on television, just genuinely smart. And I say all that to say, I think that if you're going to have anybody in entertainment serve the public in any way, I think it should be someone like him. And he was asked on Seth Meyers, I believe last week or the week before, what his plans were. And they kind of were reading, fan theories of what he was going to say or what he was going to do rather. And one of them was a run for president. And he kind of laughed a little bit, but then he said, that's a decision I would have to make with my family and my faith leaders. And he was dead serious. Not to say he'd run for president. I don't know that he would do that. I don't think that he would. But I do think that he's angry enough and he loves this country enough and he's smart enough that he might run for office. I don't know, but I think he's just the kind of person who should.
I know who's going to work on his campaign. That's obvious. So my contrarian view is this. The FCC should not exist. It was started in the early days of radio through, it was a slice cut out of the First Amendment, deciding that broadcast was different, that broadcast was dangerous because it invaded the home. It was a product of moral panic at the time. And it's been weaponized in all kinds of bad ways and rarely good ways in the past. Back in the day, I filed a FOIA with the FCC when they created their then largest in history fine against a Fox network show called Married to America for illegal use of whipped cream. I don't exactly remember the details. And there was a supposed hue and outcry. Thousands upon thousands of Americans had demanded that something must be done. So I filed a FOIA saying, send me all those thousands of complaints. And as I went through each of them, it was obvious that most were from a button from the Parents Television Council, just sending over and over and over again with people sending it. Only 3 people had bothered, 3 in the entire country had bothered to write an actual complaint. And on that basis, they did this huge complaint. Howard Stern was driven off the air. We can disagree or agree about what we think of Howard, but it was a clear violation of his First Amendment rights. It essentially, I think that was the death knell to broadcast radio in America. Yeah. Broadcast radio still has health in Europe, but none here. And I think that's because the FCC at that moment ruined it. I forget where it was. It was the Washington Post or the Journal, one of those now right-wing outlets that said the FCC should just be eliminated. The FCC obviously exists for certain technical reasons to worry about broadband and stuff, but they're regulating the part of American media that's dead already. That's the audience is dying faster than the medium. It doesn't really matter. What are they going to do? Stop people from hearing the words shit and fuck? Well, they hear it here. And so they can no longer protect the American public. And the idea that we needed protection is such patronizing bullshit. So I guess, so Julie, I'm going to agree. I want to see retribution for what's happened at CBS. And I think it might be more when it comes to things like antitrust and other mechanisms and investigations and other ways to go after these sons of bitches. But I think there's another theory of what could happen too. There is a theory that says that Netflix will win and Warner Brothers will lose, and that there goes the Ellison's business strategy.
That would be amazing.
And that if they did, there was one of the many media newsletters speculated, and it's pure speculation, that Comcast would be interested in swooping in. Not that Comcast is exactly angelic, but there could be other scenarios out there. I've spent the week watching curling. I see that.
You and my husband both.
No, my son got me into it.
I've been riveted by women's curling. Corey Teesey, go! She's the greatest. But it strikes me as a bit of a curling moment where the rock could hit this, the rock could hit that. Right. We don't know which way it's going to turn out now. Yeah. But I agree absolutely with the thought. I think we've got to also have other strategies. And you're right. The Democrats have to come out and say they have to be angry about this. We're not hearing so many things we don't hear anger about. Right. And at least be angry about media to suck up to media people. At least media should be angry about media. And it's not happening there either.
I think it's about like how it's framed too. Because I think at face value, people are like, oh, another thing. But I think when you make it a personal message to people, and make it personal about someone's trying to control you or take your rights away or something like that, I think that it becomes more visceral for people. And I hadn't considered abolish the FCC. Maybe abolish ICE, abolish the FCC, like we did the Hollywood.
Listen to us going for small government.
Oh, but right. I mean, it's like the Hollywood production code. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was like it existed until it didn't, because it was stupid and they didn't need to do it anymore. And maybe this is another example of that. Sorry.
Well, okay, but whether it's the FCC blocking this merger, it's actually not the FCC that's blocking its merger. It's whatever, as you said, antitrust, Department of Justice or whoever it is that's allowing this to go through. But I will say this, I think what needs to happen here is that Democrats need to a larger point, whether it's the FCC or whatever it is, that they're going to break them up. They're going to make their life a living hell.
Yes.
And notably, they're going to go after everybody who bribed Donald Trump for bribery, right?
Yes.
Because that's what it is.
Yes.
And make it very clear. And make it very clear that they're going to go after Paramount for bribing Donald Trump to the tune of $16 billion, dollars.
ABC and Disney.
They're going to go after Disney for bribing Donald Trump to the tune of $16 million. They're going to go after all of these companies for effectively, whatever antitrust, I'm not a lawyer, but whatever antitrust basis they have, they're going to do it. And they're going to be selective about it in the same way that Trump has been selective.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, Comcast buying CNN, I don't know why Comcast wants the headache, because they got rid of MSNBC.
Yeah, that part doesn't make any sense. Well, they might just buy part of Warner Discovery.
Right. But I mean, my point is Netflix wants to buy when Fox broke up into two companies, right? There was Foxco and there was Shitco. So I don't know if they just, which part of Shitco they're looking to buy, which is what would be left over of Warner Brothers Discovery after Netflix was done with it. But CNN is part of Shitco. And again, listen, I just looked at the ratings for CNN. Literally, I looked at them 2 days ago. The number one show that CNN has, I believe, is Erin Burnett in all viewers, not in the demo, but in all viewers. I love Erin Burnett's show. I think she's got a phenomenal show. She's got, frankly, the best show on cable news. But Erin Burnett is not even in the top 50. I don't think. Maybe she's in the top 50, but she's certainly not in the top 30 or 35, right? That's Fox, Nicole Wallace, like, whatever. It's the point is, it's mostly Fox, some MS, Fox in reruns, and then we get to CNN. And it's not a surprise to me that Erin Burnett has the #1 show on CNN, because Erin Burnett's the one person who has a very strong voice there. She actually sticks it to Trump. She doesn't do it overtly, but she's very selective in which topic she covers. And it's not a surprise that Trump hates her and wants to get rid of her. And that's something that he's apparently made a contingent of whoever, the Ellison's buying CNN, that she's going to have to go.
Right.
I guess Jake Tapper does fairly well after that, but not well generally. But then you get to Abby Phillip, who I thought had the #1 show in television, and not anymore. And I think it's because everybody's sick of this bullshit where they're constantly covering their asses because they're all so afraid of losing their jobs that they're not effectively delivering the news anymore. It's all about how could we cover our backsides.
Yeah. It's loser behavior. People don't like losers. When you act like a loser, people are like, oh, who are these
That's
pansies?
Really
honestly.
Yeah, it is loser behavior. It's exactly right.
Well
And that's exactly what it is. And nobody likes a loser. And especially not, why would you invite a loser into your house?
Right.
And that's what CNN is acting like right now. And that's certainly what CBS is acting like right now, where they're terrified. They're terrified. And so, what do you say based on that?
Right.
I mean, CBS is. Why did the Ellisons buy all of this? They saw, because everything they bought is dying.
Yeah.
And CBS is not exactly a valuable asset in any way, in any possible way. The entertainment assets are yuck.
I mean, I don't mean to insult people who have shows on CBS, but who's watching sitcoms and things on CBS now? Do you know what I mean?
Who's watching?
I guess Survivor or something. I don't know.
You guys have to be media savvy, but Michelle, I talk to people who are in their 30s, and they never see commercials.
Yeah,
because they don't watch.
I haven't had
linear
cable
TV
in 15 years. Yeah.
I
only see it on Hulu Live, and it's annoying. And then I usually pay the extra, so I really don't have to watch.
So there goes the entire business model of broadcast television, or linear television. Right? It's gone. It's gone. And so they bought they bought this in CBS so as to curry favor with Trump. Well, he's going to be gone at some point by one hook or crook, and the medium is dying, and they're ruining whatever assets there are. 60 Minutes we'll get to in a few minutes. It's mystifying how they wanted to. What are they getting out of throwing their money away just to cozy up to a pedophile protecting thief?
Yeah.
It's funny about the business model of advertising. Have you been watching the coverage, the curling on Peacock? Have you been watching it? Because okay, because I was watching figure skating the other night, and I was watching the replay. I kid you not, they came in with 130 seconds of ads. I think it was 130. Every skater, and if you wanted to fast forward, it didn't matter.
Peacock, which you're paying for.
Which we pay for. The only great thing about the Peacock NBC coverage, other than just the curling and the athletes, is Sesame Street. Which again, you look at Sesame Street, which has been gutted by this administration as well, and PBS. And I just wanted to show a short clip here. Do you know about Elmo and Rocco? Do you know Rocco the Rock? Oh my God. Okay. So there's this other little character that is friends with Elmo, and she has this rock, and she treats it like it's a real person, and it really annoys Elmo. And so
just like some people in AI. Yeah.
Right, and he's like, Rocco's not real. Stop talking about him. And you see Elmo get really, really upset about it. So, so they were saying that Rocco was like the curling rock. And again, you're not seeing this on broadcast.
Oh, you got to turn on the volume.
No, got to turn on the volume. Hold on. It's so great. Why can't I hear it?
Nope.
No.
The curling stones are made out of rock, like your enemy Rocco. Yes. But you know what? That's okay. They're just stones. That's appropriate. Rocco is just a stone. He can't talk. It's not a he. It's just a rock.
It's just a rock.
Elmo's fine with curling stones because no one's pretending that they're real.
I think Elmo's had it with Rocco.
Elmo loves Zoe very much. Elmo's a little sick of Rocco.
And Rocco's not here. You guys are here.
The rock is not here,
Yeah.
no.
Are we sure? You never know
It's
where Rocco's
probably
gonna.
here. It's
show up.
someone from
You know
Elmo's
what?
team
Is
probably brought Rocco.
Is Rocco in your pocket?
Probably.
But like, you know, it's like we're not getting that on broadcast, and I think that's, you know, it's special. I love it.
I gotta say, first of all, I have not been watching women's curling. I've been watching men's curling, which is what apparently the men in my house like to watch.
You're all missing the real story.
I listen. I live with
The women are amazing,
They're
know.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I know.
just like the hockey team. The women.
Yeah, victorious.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also say that I just, we're getting to the point here where our entire old media is being taken over one way or another by MAGA. And the question to me is, does it matter, Jeff?
In the long run, I don't think it does, because it's dying, because it doesn't matter. But in the short run, it does matter. And because it shows the power they have, it's very much like Hungary and other dictatorial regimes.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think we should be very concerned. But I was thinking about this coming into today's show. The other thing that bothers me, and I know I constantly, what brought us together was me complaining about the New York Times.
Yeah.
But in a sense, I'm also concerned that the New York Times is now a monopoly. It is a monopoly of reporting resources in the country. And some of it very good. We always give that caveat. But a lot of it misused. And so you have, on the one hand, much of the legacy media is now directly controlled by or sucking up to the Trump administration. And what we have left of it is one institution that's chicken in the face of it.
Yep.
And so our media institutions are worthless. So does it matter that CBS has taken over? Does it matter that Trump has taken over the media? Yes, it does. In the long run, they'll be replaced. So the other thing I'm thinking about, to your point, Julie, about what comes if and when the Democrats come in, is what can they do to support the likes of you? What can be done to support independent media and encourage the mechanisms, the platforms and protocols that enable many voices to flower?
Well, it's funny that you say this, because I always use the example of Charlie Kirk, who got $100,000 from Foster Friess by pitching him at the age of 19 or 18 at the Republican National Convention. It's about a decade ago, and saying, hey, if you give me $100,000, I will turn academia red, which was a laughable proposition back then. And he got his $100,000, and look what Charlie Kirk was able to do with that money.
Yep.
At the same time, you had Ben Shapiro, who went to a bunch of billionaires and said the same thing.
Yeah.
He invested about $5.5 million into his effort when he was a very, very young kid.
And he was like a showbiz kid too. His family's Hollywood, so it was a little easier for him. But yeah.
Oh, no, but that's not how he didn't get it from them. He got it from.
No, I just mean like the mechanism and like, being a practitioner of
right. But the reality is that he now is worth about $500 million as enterprise. So that was also a really, really good investment, right? Democrats don't do that. I mean, I know a lot of rich Democrats, and I've been pitching a lot of them, and to invest in Mayday and other places. They're scared to death.
Can I vent about this too? Yes. Because the other half of this here, other than the investment, is the purity tests and the virtue signaling online about Democratic influencers and independent media making money, because people are not going to do this for free. And anytime anybody, like, they find out somebody made money doing something, there's like this whole mob of people. It's like, can you believe this person made $20,000 or is getting paid $6,000 a month to tweet or whatever? And I'm like, Do you expect people to work 4 jobs and also do this for free? Like that, it drives me absolutely bonkers. Meanwhile, Benny Johnson and Tim Pool and those guys who are being funneled money from Russians to the tune of $400,000 a month, they have no problem with this. But like we're yelling at, some small creator for making a couple $1,000 here and there. Like it's just so crazy, and everybody needs to stop. It's very, very annoying, and I see it on
really
threads.
is. And how do you grow? How do you grow into doing more unless you could? One need be profitable.
Exactly. I'm like, leave people alone. Like let people make money, because you know what? Money is freedom. Money is freedom to say the things you need to say, to have the time to be creative and to write and to curate the kind of content you want to make. When people are stressed out about making their bills and things like that, they can't do this. They can't commit to this kind of work. And it does take a huge commitment, not just with your time, but with your mental health and your family and everything else. So people need to pipe down about that. I think it's crazy. It's truly.
Well, but it's also that these billionaires are scared to death. They are terrified. They are terrified. They're terrified of being, first of all, they're terrified of taking a chance in anything. And second, they're terrified of being tagged as being, anti-Trump right now. And they just want to keep their head down. They're all with you quietly. They're just not with you with their checkbook. And that is a massive problem.
Therein lies also the difference in the reflection of Democratic and Republican donors too, is like, having run a super PAC for however long that I did, I mean, it was trying to raise money on the left is very, very difficult because people want to see numbers. They want to see this. They want to see everything before they're willing to even take a chance. Republican donors throw all kinds of money at everything. And then they say trial and error, trial and error. Wait until something sticks to the wall and then go with it. They trust you because they assume that you know what you're doing, and not everything's going to work. And that's all baked in. And
so you need things
get ahead faster. Yeah.
You need things that can happen legislatively. You need protection from spurious libel and slap suits. And we need to be able to get back to the point of protecting speech and meaning it. Not the kind of speech the right wing talks about, that BS. But actual, responsible, open speech.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's just incredible to me that you have all of these. I kind of laugh because you have all of these young, naive, I think to some extent, people who are in the space that Michelle and I are in, going to the DNC and asking to get, to be paid a couple of bucks to go down to, North Carolina and campaign for, the North Carolina, Senate candidate's going to be. And the reality of Roy Cooper, like, ooh, okay, we did an event. Like they're taking these crumbs, whereas Charlie Kirk asked for money to start a multi-$100 billion empire.
Yep.
Right? Like they're not looking for a free flight in economy class down to stand up on stage and feel important and be the fluffer for whoever the nominee is going to be in Congressional District 8 in North Carolina. I'm making that number up, so I may be making that up. But I mean, my point is, like, because they have no clue. They have no clue. And all of these Democratic donors, the billionaires, are sitting there giving out $3,500.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Max out contributions to whatever candidate happens to catch their fancy, as opposed to taking that money, bundling it, and putting it into, it doesn't have to be us, but putting it into
somebody.
Like, how the Bulwark got to be really big?
There you go.
You know how the Bulwark became the Bulwark? Because James Murdoch and Catherine Murdoch had a little bit of a guilt trip about how they made their money. And they decided to put their money into Republicans who were going to take down Donald Trump. And they were successful at it exponentially.
How much did they put in, do you know?
Millions, I think.
Yeah, millions for sure. And for those first couple, 2-3 years, from what I was told, they were in the red. It took a while. You know what I mean? Like those returns were not immediate, and I listened to Sarah Longwell. Sarah Longwell's a pretty, smart woman. brains behind some of the business operation of it, and they run it very well. They're a well-oiled machine over there. And, Midas is a little bit more of a clickbaity operation.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're one of the bigger voices, if not the biggest on the left. They're relentless. They have a lot of people. And again, these are three rich kids who's got this Hollywood high-powered dad who gave them some money after they, dissolved their PAC after the election, turned this into a business, and they got a leg up.
They're doing really well. But my point is like James and Catherine Murdoch got it.
Exactly.
Right? Instead of dumping their money into individual campaigns, maybe they're doing that too. They decided to dump it into something that was going to, it's like if you give what's that phrase? Like if you give somebody a fish, they'll eat for a day. If you teach them how to fish,
Yeah.
Well, and the investment is not that big. We're at the point now because mass media, my rallying cry, is dying and dead. Because the celebrity of it doesn't really matter. You don't have to pay what you pay to an Anderson Cooper or a Jake Tapper, who we'll talk about in a second. You can start. You don't need with Colbert. You don't need a staff of hundreds to produce what he has. It'd be nice if he had a band, but maybe you can't afford a band. You can still do amazing things, right? And that's the thing about this world now, is that you. So in my next book, which I'll keep plugging, The Hot Type, out June 11, I write about when the mechanization of the press, with steam-powered presses and the linotype came in, and it was Whitlaw Reid, the publisher of the Tribune, who recognized, New York Tribune, recognized how capital was necessary in media, and capital and equity were going to win. And that was new. That was not a sense of what was there before. That was the corporatization of media. That's what's ending. You guys can do what you do with very little money, because you have to. No money. And that opens up a lot of possibilities that just simply were never there before. And that's what we need to concentrate on.
Yeah. But I mean, you need some money, right? And that's
But that's the point. You can invest it. It's a great investment.
It's a great
You can get a return on your investment a hell of a lot more than buying CB fucking S.
Yeah, 100%. And I was talking to, will be nameless, but a major, and I mean, probably the major Democratic donor not too long ago. And they're giving me kind of a hard time about investing in a congressional race. Like they're running the traps on that. And I'm like thinking, why are you wasting my time on a congressional race, running the traps on this, when you should be investing money into buying or standing up like a CBS, but on the internet?
Yep.
The culture. Culture is going to lead politics here. The other side used it with the supposed culture wars and all that BS. And the fake fights and wars from, you talked about it, Julie, killing Christmas up through abortion and guns and trans kids. All that BS is cultural.
Yep.
And enough with the culture wars. We don't want to fight culture wars. We want to support culture.
Well, we've already won. That's the other thing. And it's just like the loudest voices in the room are the victims on the right who play victim 24/7 about they're not, everything's not fair. When it's just because they're not the cool kids and they don't get to sit at the cool table because, they don't like gay people and they don't like women and they don't like black people and whatever. I'm like, well, the rest of the world's moving on and we've already proven that we've won. And so we have to act like winners and continue moving in that direction and remind people of that, because I think that that's also part of the hopelessness that people are feeling right now, is because there's not enough voices telling us and reminding us that A, there's more of us, and B, we've already won.
Today, Wall Street Journal had an editorial about Mamdani and his, I think, very clever gambit here, saying to Hochul, if you don't let me raise taxes on billionaires, I'm raising real estate taxes. And
you think it's clever? So you think it's clever because you don't pay real estate taxes in New York, Jeff Jarvis?
Understood. I get that, but because I think it's he used the vice where he has it, and I think it forces Hochul into a position where you're really going to defend billionaires versus homeowners in New York. Really?
Well,
Well, just in case she doesn't
Yeah.
play on that gambit, he better not raise property taxes because
well, because I got to re-sign my lease in September, and I'm thinking like,
You sound like
my
you live in New
rent's gonna
Jersey, you
go-
two.
well,
My rent's gonna go through the roof.
Guess who he's going to be screwing?
Yeah, I agree. But the journal
renters.
treats this as they're trying to wear the cloak of victimhood for billionaires. He's being
Well,
mean to
right. I
billionaires.
mean that
Right.
angle's stupid. That's
Well,
dumb.
yeah, because billionaires are leaving New York and they're moving down to Florida and they support New York City and blah blah
Right,
blah.
right.
And it's not billionaires though; it's anybody making over $1 million, which is not. I'm not one of those people, but does not go that far in New York City. But anyway,
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
It should be a billionaire's tax.
It should be.
It should
Mhm.
be. I think California's tax is badly constructed, or proposed tax is badly constructed. There needs to be a smart way to say that the redistribution of income has gone way too far,
Mhm.
and they're not paying their fair share. And here's a fair and equitable way to get them to pay how they've managed to exploit the country.
Yeah, I think that is a federal argument to be made,
Mhm.
and Biden tried to make it, and unfortunately, he got rejected.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, speaking of billionaires, Jake Tapper is making a nice living over at CNN. There's a little Tapper rule that went into effect, I guess, at CNN now. You're not allowed to
Mhm.
hawk your books anymore the way.
Well.
So
Thoughts?
Tapper
Isn't
went mad. The Tapper book selling tour on media was just ridiculous.
Out of
It was
control.
crazy.
It really was. And it was not just that he was selling the books; it was also that he was trying to bury Biden more.
Mhm.
He was taking a position there, and so it was obnoxious. And I used to think Jake Tapper was an okay guy, but he's gone way over.
I think
The
Jake
end.
Tapper. I think Jake Tapper sees which way the wind is blowing. I mean, this is what I'm saying to you about
Mhm.
CNN. I think Jake Tapper understands this. If he is gone from CNN, where is Jake Tapper going to go? He can't go to Fox. He's not going to go to MSNBC or whatever, MS Now. So he's not going to go back to ABC. Where
He's box office poison at this point. He's not a very likable guy.
So the question for Jake Tapper is, where is Jake Tapper going to go if suddenly CNN decides that Jake Tapper can't beat CNN anymore? And unlike Anderson Cooper, he doesn't have, like, Anderson Cooper could ride off into the sunset tomorrow. And Anderson Cooper, by the way, can do something independent and he'll be fine. Like, Anderson Cooper has a good EQ, whatever that, right?
Mhm.
Can Jake Tapper go to Substack along with the rest of us? Sure.
Well,
Sure.
Okay, but funny about that is that, word on the street is he was telling people who worked on his show that no one was allowed to even be on Substack. He was forbidding people to be on Substack or have Substacks because he felt like threatened by it or whatever it is. So if he goes over there, I will never stop laughing.
He's
Well,
like an old media mogul. Yeah.
Right, but here's the thing: like, you have people on stuff. Like, look, what's his name who used to host Meet the Press, right? Chuck,
Ugh.
right? Chuck's on
Todd.
it, right? What'd you say?
Suck Todd.
Chuck Todd's on Substack. Like, Chuck Todd's not who he used to be when he was hosting Meet the Press. Do people read Chuck Todd's Substack? I don't see him on the
And
bestseller
I never
list.
hear him quoted. Never, ever.
I never
ever.
see him quoted. I never see him on the bestseller list. I never see him.
He's in Chris Saliza land.
He's in Crystal Lizzle.
Yeah.
That's where Jake Tapper would be if he went to Substack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
plus, Substack is really hard work. Like, you kill what you eat at Substack, right? So, like, if you pop in every couple of days or every 1 or 2 times a week, nobody's going to be waiting for bated breath. You got to do it every single day. You just have to trust me. The lines around my face are exhibit A as to why you have to do it every day and why it's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting about it is you don't have a producer.
Right.
You don't have a,
Exactly.
like, Acosta's got, I think Acosta's got one guy. But Acosta has a voice. Acosta is doing really, really well because Acosta's got a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Acosta was a martyr, and Acosta continued.
Exactly. Yep.
And Acosta became a martyr, and then he came to Substack, and he and Terry Moran are both doing well because they were both martyrs.
Yeah,
And they're doing good work. Yeah. They're
doing good
and
work.
he's a nice guy.
And he's a
Jim
nice
Acosta is a nice person.
the nicest guy.
He's a lovely person, and
Yeah.
and he was kind of the Colbert of cable news in a lot of ways, in the fact that he was put out to pasture because they didn't like what he had to say, because he challenged Donald Trump. He was the one standing up in those press conferences asking questions, and he was had his press pass revoked and all of these things. But we spent time with him last year at the Webbies. He was a guest of ours, and we spent a couple days and got to talk to him a lot. And he's like, listen, I'm free. Jim Acosta's like free
Jim
now.
Acosta was like,
it's great. He's like, I've never had so much fun.
Think about who's doing well from the cable news world, right? It's Terry Moran, who's not on cable news, who's ABC, but it's like Terry Moran, it's Jim Acosta, it's Joy Reid.
Because they all stood up for principle.
Don Lemon,
Katie Fang, right? All stood up for principle, or all got kicked to the curb on principle.
Yep.
Yes.
And Katie Fang, I just happened to, right before we did the show, I did Katie Fang's show. I just did her show with for my nonprofit. So she's fantastic. She's so phenomenal. Smart. And I asked her, I asked her if she was still living where she was living, back in the day. And she said, yes, my furniture lives here, but I'm traveling all the time. And she's off to DC for the State of the Union. She's off to Minnesota for some other, she is working her ass off.
Yeah.
That's why she's doing so well. Yeah. And meanwhile, Jake Tapper, who's used to having a production team of 500 to yell at. I know people work for him and he's not easy to work for. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No. He could exploit his name recognition and his fame to an extent. He's not going to build something like any of those people you just mentioned. I mean, compare them to someone like Katie Couric, who actually builds something. She doesn't make a fortune off what she does, but she has a large staff. I think she has like 40 people.
Oh, wow.
Doing as much journalism as they can, and having a relationship with an audience, and working the socials, and being out there. And so you take someone who had fame for fame's sake, as she did, and she didn't just rely on it. She built something out of it. Yeah. And Tapper is going to be just trying to exploit what he had.
And Jake Tapper also seems like somebody who's like, thinks things are beneath him. Like, I don't know. I just get that vibe from him that he wouldn't want to kind of pound pavement in that kind of way. You know what I mean? With his 8x10 glossy, like he wouldn't want to do that because he's above that.
You got to pound the pavement. This is a kill what you eat world, and you got to pound the pavement. And nobody's going to be paying you millions of dollars to have 0 ratings, which is what CNN is paying a lot of these people. And God bless. I mean, listen, I love Anderson Cooper. I think he is a great guy. He's getting paid a lot of money for some really bad ratings.
Can I ask you guys, have you heard about MS Now? You know how everyone's podcasting over at MS Now because that's where they see the future. Chris Hayes, Nicole Wallace, everybody over there. There were rumors.
I wish she hadn't done Scott Galloway. That disappointed me greatly. I think the world of Nicole, but that one bugged me. But anyway.
I am there. Listen, we have a patriarchy issue on the left and nobody wants to talk about it. And that's a whole nother situation.
But I interrupted. Sorry, keep going.
No. But there's rumors. I don't know. I think that they're valid because otherwise, why would anyone be reporting on something like this? That the Pod Save America, the crooked media, is going to take those podcasts from Nicole Wallace and all them under their umbrella. Now, I don't know how I feel about that because although I'm just like maybe everyone kind of belongs together under that umbrella because then you're just taking the cable news experience and then just putting it online.
Well, they did the deal. The deal is signed and out there.
Oh, it is.
Okay. Well, here's the deal: is that there'll be a weekly compilation show of Crooked Media's stuff airing Saturdays at 9 p.m. on MS Now. So they're moving podcasts to air to get cheap content.
Yeah, but
that's the deal. Now the question is, will that relationship go deeper and go opposite? I don't know. Because I've never, I haven't listened to her latest one, but Rachel, the least working person in America, Rachel Maddow, who I still respect immensely, but Jesus,
great.
How to get paid that much money for doing that little? I haven't listened to her latest podcast, but her earlier podcasts were very good, but there was no advertising on them. I don't see what the business strategy is behind the podcasts.
Her long form stuff is so good. Like
Yeah,
the
it is.
series.
It is.
Yeah.
But I don't see the business model.
Well, can I be the
don't get it.
contrarian here? I cannot stand listening to Rachel Maddow on television. If I wanted to read an op-ed, I'd read an op-ed. Like by the
Well,
time
that's what I'm saying. Her long form stuff is really good.
the long form
Like,
stuff is good, but by the time Rachel Maddow
the
gets,
A block. I'm like,
gets-
well,
by the time
Ugh.
Rachel Maddow gets to her first guest, Sean Hannity's already on like E block. Like
Yeah.
My worst is that Ari Melber trying to be Rachel Maddow is torture.
have you seen Stephen Colbert's impression of Rachel Maddow? Because that shit's
No.
fun.
no,
Oh, it's good. It's so good.
no.
Go find that. Go find that.
But whatever.
So Anderson Cooper, we don't know about Anderson Cooper. Let's
Yeah.
talk about him leaving
Yeah.
60 Minutes.
Well, 60 minutes. Listen, he has the wherewithal to give the middle finger to 60 Minutes.
But
and
but he
did.
did. But will he say anything? Will he ever say anything out loud criticizing the state of CBS 60 Minutes Barry Weiss? Because unless he does that, God bless leaving and leaving on principle. But if you don't say anything, that
Right.
litany you gave before, Acosta through Joy Reid,
Yeah.
of people who did speak up. Here's the question: will Anderson Cooper speak up? And if he doesn't, what do we think?
I think, well, I'm like, what's it going to take? Is it going to take Andy Cohen, like doing an interview with him and like kind of like poking him until he starts giggling to get him to say something? Like, do you know, I mean it because Andy Cohen is very expressive about how he feels about things and wouldn't be friends with someone who thought otherwise. So I wonder if Anderson Cooper is free, if he will.
I think
don't know.
I think Anderson Cooper has probably a lot of respect for his colleagues at 60 Minutes, and I think he has a lot of respect for Tanya Simon at 60 Minutes, and I think he's got a lot of respect for the history that he had at 60 Minutes to not say this place sucks and I'm out of here.
Can he say that Barry Weiss sucks for what she's
Yeah.
doing to the show that he cares about? That the Ellisons suck for what they're
Yeah.
doing by bringing her in?
Yep.
Oops. No.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know. Look, I think the question is not what Anderson's going to do. The question is Sharon Alfonsi, whose contract apparently is up, is she out the door?
Right.
Whether herself or because she's going to be pushed. If that's the case, does Leslie Stahl stick around? Does Scott Pelley stick around? And if they don't, is that the end of 60?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 60
Right.
Minutes will continue because they're going to use that. They're going to turn that franchise into Conspiracy Central,
Yeah.
I predict.
Yeah. But who's going to be watching it? Right?
The same folks the same old folks who watch it now will be influenced by it, I think, to an extent.
I think like the right wing crazies who again
Yeah.
are constantly screaming about being losers and victims all the time. They'll watch it because they feel that it'll make them feel like they've won, but they haven't. That's another thing. I was like, again, you guys won something that was already dying. So congratulations.
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's say Tanya Simon leaves. Let's say she takes her whole team with her. Let's say all the correspondents that we've all known, including Leslie Stahl, who's been there for 500
Yeah.
years, if she leaves, like, she's the last of that whole Bob Simon, crew.
Yeah.
She's been there since what, the 80s
Mm-hmm.
or something? Yeah. I mean, like, she's been there since, Wallace was there and Simon was there and all of those.
Was it Andy Rooney?
Rooney was there. And
Love. No. Oh, I always enjoyed his
Oh,
little.
drove me nuts. Drove me nuts.
I'm more with you, Jeff. But yeah, so like, who's going to be like? I guess you're right. They're going to turn it into Conspiracy Central and have the tick, 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 and people are going to be like, "Oh, wow, 60 Minutes."
Mhm.
But you can only do that if you work that way in while these people are already still on air, right? If now all of a sudden they replace Anderson with John Solomon, whatever the hell that guy's name is, that crazy right-wing conspiracy guy, and they put him in there, or even like a Brett Baer or somebody like that,
Right.
that would be the smart thing to do. Because then you kind of start, it's like a cancer, right? You throw them
Brett
in.
Baer will never leave Fox. Yeah.
Well, he can't because he's under contract. But I mean, like, John Solomon or get one of these investigative, whatever.
Right.
But
James O'Keefe, the new host.
Right. You put James O'Keefe in there. But let's say that you can't put a James O'Keefe in there, right? Let's say you can't put somebody like is it James Solomon, John Solomon, whatever his name is, unless you get rid of everybody else, because I suspect that if they ever put somebody like that in, you'll have a mass exodus of the existing people there, and a very loud one at that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like these people will go quietly.
Yeah, I think they're reckless enough that they might do something stupid like that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, because they're just like all into themselves and like the hubris. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
They're just gonna stick it to the libs. You know?
That's the whole goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole goal. They could stick it to the libs, but the reality is that they could stick it to the libs all they want, and what ends up happening is that they're going to, they're going to end up with a conspiracy-minded show where I don't know that people are going to advertise, because ultimately, why are you advertising on 60 when you're who's going to be buying your stuff?
Well, that's the next thing that's going to happen. And it happened, as I remember, in Trump 1, is that if you drop your ads from a show like that because it goes that way, then Trump et al. Are going to come after you.
Well, right. I mean, that's the 60 Minutes will no longer be brand safe. And you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be a place, you know, and the people who advocate for brand safety and, like, you know, and boycotts and things like that. I mean, that has worked. It worked during the CNN stuff. Right. I mean, CNN was no longer brand safe for a little while when Chris Licht was running the network. And remember, they had Trump, you know, that Trump town hall thing. And they were like, and he said, you know, go have fun out there. And everybody was up in arms. This was the time that I was at Lincoln Project. And I produced an anti-CNN ad. It was all about this and how they were going to usher in fascism. And we had a billboard truck follow them. This was during the upfronts. We had them follow around the building all day long and just completely harass them. They were really mad. They were really, really mad. But it worked. I mean, they did kind of respond to it, you know, as did a lot of other people, because it was a coalition of organizations that went after them and changed the public opinion. And that was kind of the beginning of the end of Chris Licht. I mean, their different brand of ushering in fascism has you know, evolved a little bit, but, you know, it's no longer brand safe. I mean, look at the ads that are on Fox News now. I mean, like, no one wants to advertise over there.
Well, the pillow guy goes out of business.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, like, fine, but you also have the same ads on CNN and MSNBC. Like, either you have erectile dysfunction, or you want to
hearing aid or something,
or you want to buy gold.
Yeah.
Or you have some disease that I've never heard of in my life, but you absolutely must buy medicine for it.
Right.
And the people taking the medicine are so happy and so self-satisfied. They're singing and dancing in the streets.
Or I've got type 2 diabetes, but I wear it well with a little story to tell. You know, I take Jardium, whatever the hell it's called.
I hear the Wegovy. Wegovy. Oh, I'm like, oh, kill me. I hate it.
Or whatever that disease is where you can't, like, you have a claw hand and you can't stretch it out. But I mean, like, unless
Peroni's is my least favorite, I think.
Yeah. That's right. The Peroni's.
But you know what? It's interesting, because what that says is that no one values us as an audience.
Us who?
Us news interested people.
Yeah. Well, right.
We are not valued as an audience, and so it's sold out at bargain basement prices. And it's not just that they sell to crappy advertisers; they sell it in such a way that you buy the whole month. And we see that same Jardiance commercial 100 times if you have the network on. I've been meaning to sit down and count how many times it comes on in a given day, because it's numbing. And a lot of this stuff that they have on, like the diabetes one now, those are unpaid. They're not even bothering to sell a lot of the time. And what they are selling these days is the horrible ice protection commercials.
Oh,
that's appearing on MS Now, right?
Yeah.
But it says a lot about where advertising is as a whole, and where advertising views not just the content of news, but views the value of the audience. People who are educated and care, or they don't care about.
Yeah, I'm like, 60 Minutes. Who do you think watches your show? Like, and you just alienated everybody who's been watching your show for decades. Like, what are you doing?
But listen, it just tells you what advertisers care about and who's advertising, right? All I know from all my years in television is all they cared about was the demo, 18 to 55, the demo. Fine. And then you turn on the ads. Not one ad, except for maybe Wegovy or type 2 diabetes, whatever that thing is, right? But most of them are for people over 55.
Yeah.
Right.
65.
65, right? Erectile dysfunction, which, I don't want to stereotype, but typically affects older men, right?
Yeah.
All of these diseases that have to do with aging and
macular degeneration,
all of that. I mean, that's again, there's no shame in it. It's just that it's for, you get
that's the target audience. Yeah.
That's the target audience. And so, on the one hand, it's like the demo. On the other hand, we're not even bothering to advertise the demo because we know the demo is not watching us. Like, at what point do they wake up and say, holy shit, maybe we need to change this up. If all we care about is the demo, maybe we better change this up.
Yep.
Now, I don't know. I haven't watched Fox in a long time. I don't know what the commercials on the 5 are because they're actually doing very well in the demo. But CNN and MS Now, not at all. Not at all. They're all super commercials that are super geared towards older people over 65.
Wow. And with lists of side effects that go on for 3/4 of the
side effects, where my husband has this whole thing. He's like, my God, they're always for like, for antidepressants, where the side effects are like, say, like risk
You're
of
gonna kill
suicide.
yourself.
Right.
You're gonna risk of suicide.
May include.
Yeah, my husband's always like, if you're depressed, why would you take something that's going to up your risk of suicide?
Right.
But
or anxiety meds that might cause a stroke. And I was like, well, that's kind of like,
I'd be anxious about that. Yeah.
I'd be anxious about
that. So,
may cause death. Cool.
Yeah.
I want to make a pronouncement here.
Okay.
The Jardiance theme song is the new Cars for Kids.
Cars for Kids.
Oh, God.
Nothing will ever be as obnoxious as Cars for Kids. For people who do not are Cars for Kids.
Oh, stop. I used to like you.
Is Cars for Kids just a New York, New Jersey thing?
No, it's national.
National?
Yeah, it's a national thing.
All right, for people who watch us not in the United States.
It was even a joke on the Good Life.
Oh, it was?
That was hell when you
That is
constantly heard. Yeah.
I remember when they brought Maduro into New York and they had the helicopter take off. And I remember I was watching the live feed from CNN and it like flew right in front of the Cars for Kids like billboard. I was like, oh God.
Welcome to America.
Maduro was like, I never knew what hell was until I had to have Cars for Kids. Remember how in Panama with Ortega, Ortega was Noriega. Who was the guy in Panama? Anyway, was it Noriega? Yes. Ortega was in Nicaragua. Noriega was in Panama. So Noriega, remember how they used to they blasted Van Halen outside the embassy to try to get him out of there?
Yeah.
Outside the hotels. Yeah, I think they literally blasted. I think it was Panama. Literally, they blasted like not the song "Panama" by Van Halen. Maybe I'm wrong, but they blasted like Van Halen 24/7 at like really high decibels to get him out of there, to drive him crazy. And I'm like, no, Cars for Kids is all they should be.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Right.
These idiot kids standing there pretending to play instruments on those little pink risers.
And you know that's got to be a non-union commercial because then none of them. They're not looking like they've got representation.
It's for a good cause, Michelle.
I know.
Can I tell you something? I don't care if Cars for Kids was curing cancer. I wouldn't give them money because of that commercial.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's like it's actually making me not want to help Cars for Kids.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I also don't have a car to give the kid.
I also don't trust.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's a little off topic. I will look. I don't know where all this is going. I don't know where. We know where cable news is going. We know where broadcast is going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know more broadly where, like, if the Ellisons are trying to buy Warner Brothers for the studios, and in which case, where are the movies going?
Because that's they need the scale. I mean, both Netflix is odd because I think Netflix could have gone without, but I take the point of why they went after it.
Right.
Comcast has the Universal Studios. They decided they could go without, but they're tempted still. The reason that Paramount's not very good, and so by adding Warner Brothers, they get more scale and production. Warner Brothers, however, has permanent cooties. I was at Time Inc. when I started Entertainment Weekly, and we went through the merger fight between Paramount and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers won. Look what happened. Time Warner AOL. Look what happened. The last two, Warner Brothers, AT&T. Everybody who touches Warner Brothers dies.
It's like Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. So
One of these days, I want to hear your story, Jeff, about the magazine and how you started and how you left. I want to hear it all. I want to hear it all.
I wrote a book called Magazine.
Oh,
I'll send it to you.
What a
I'm
what a
happy
great
to tell the
opportunity to
story.
tell the
So
Tell
I
it.
left. I'll tell you just this one part. I might have said this before. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I have, because I'm old now and I'm hobbled and I don't know when to repeat myself.
They have a drug
So-
for that.
We'll
Probably
get
just
you some Guardians or whatever it is. That
Yeah, I take that.
You need some Prevagen.
Use some Prevagen.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts, kid. So I think I did say this on the show before, that I didn't sign the managing editor's contract because if I had, because it had a shut up clause.
Right.
And after I refused to, and it was public, they got rid of it. I would have received 3 years salary bonus and benefits. So I held on to my rights to tell the story, but nobody cared. So I didn't
I
do it
was gonna say,
until
did you ever make that money
25 years
back?
later.
Did you ever make that money back in telling the story or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The advance for that book was $1,000. No.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Well, at least you got an advance. That's already pretty
I
nice.
got an advance. It's
Yeah.
academic publishing. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, what I don't understand is where any of this is going, right? You talk about magazines. Nobody reads magazines anymore.
Nope.
Nobody watches cable news anymore. Nobody watches broadcast news anymore. Nobody watches movies anymore, I don't think, right?
I'm like one of the few who gets them and likes to
What
flip.
is that show?
What? I got the Atlantic here.
I
I've
got
got the New Republic. I get Rolling Stone.
wow.
I get a lot of magazines.
She's
Okay.
so old fashioned.
Yeah. I
Oh.
like to flip a page.
I like to read
I used
online.
to. I loved them. I started a magazine. I love magazines. I used to get the double bagged at Hudson's, buying magazines by the
Oh, yeah.
pound.
Yeah.
But
I know.
no more.
Yeah.
So what did we decide this week? We decided that Jake Tapper is vastly overpaid,
Well,
that Anderson Cooper and it would not survive on Substack, that Anderson Cooper may or may not speak up depending on how hard Andy Cohen makes him giggle.
Mhm.
I just want to say I would watch a show of just him giggling because I think it really does bring me joy. It's the funniest thing. And then he can't stop and it's just the
Yeah,
best.
that is funny.
Yeah.
I just love how CNN's background of Anderson Cooper's show is perfectly matched to his eyes. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
That's not an accident and you know it and I know
Of course
it.
it's not 100% not, but once you see it, you will not unsee it. And you'll be looking at him and then you'll be looking at his background. You'll be looking at him again and you're like, okay. And we decided that 60 minutes is not long for the world in its current
Right.
manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we think Alfonsi stays? Or do we think Alfonsi goes? Do we think they
I
have the
think
courage?
She gets dumped.
You think that she gets dumped?
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
I think even Pele could get dumped.
Mm-hmm.
You think
Because what do they have to
Stahl gets-
lose?
Well, would they have
bought
to?
a dying institution. Yeah, CBS 60 Minutes was the only thing worthwhile on CBS, but even so, they didn't
Do
buy
we-
it to build it.
No. Do we think that the people at 60 will have some guardian angel that's going to allow them to take some combination of them and have them do it on independent media? No.
No, because
Too
60 Minutes itself is. I don't watch 60 Minutes anymore.
Really?
it is a magazine show. It is like the
Yeah.
genre of magazines. I think that it's over.
I used to watch it.
You used to too?
I still watch it. And I think it still has value added.
Okay.
Yeah, but Vogue is still nice, but not necessary.
I would love for us to talk about the new leadership over at Vogue. And did you see that interview where that they did with Anna and her? We should talk about that maybe next week because
Yes.
I thought that was
That's a good one for next week,
Interesting.
Yes,
Really?
Yes.
I did not see it. Should we save
Yeah.
it for next week or do you want to talk
next
about
week.
it?
no
Let's do it
next week. Next week.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. On that note, because we've been at this for a while,
Yeah.
it is so good to see everybody. Michelle and I will
As
see
ever.
you all as ever. Michelle and I will see you back here tomorrow. And Jeff, we will see you next Friday.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody. Have a great weekend. And, we'll see you all.
Please remember to like and subscribe. Hit the little like button down here so that you can help us get the word out, and also
And share.
subscribe. You'll be the first, and share. You'll be the first to know when we go live or do any new content or release any new content or podcasts. And of course, you can find this show as well as the Mayday podcast on Apple Podcasts, not Spotify, because they do business with ICE and we don't like that. So find us everywhere, and we'll be here. We'll be here for everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.